It's another hot evening in Kansas City, where we come to you from Kauffman Stadium for Game 2 of this 4-game series between the Seattle Mariners and the Kansas City Royals. Hi, everybody. Steve Physioc, Jeff Montgomery with you. A lot of news today concerning the Royals. Transactions, designated for assignment, Jonathan Sanchez, who has had a miserable start to his Royals career, and Ryan Verdugo, the young man who was acquired in the Melky Cabrera trade with Sanchez, will make his major league debut.
Well, Sanchez had plenty of opportunities, Steve, to establish himself as one of the top of the rotation guys here in Kansas City. Unfortunately, those chances have evaporated. They are finished. He is done as a Kansas City Royal, designated for assignment today. Now, tonight, we're going to see Ryan Verdugo make his major league debut. A lot of nervousness, a lot going on in his mind right now, hoping to have this opportunity to establish himself as a Royal starter in the start tonight.
Ben Mazzaro will be part of that Kansas City bullpen. Ushua is going back to Omaha. But in the lineup, Salvi Perez, he'll bring his defense, his offense, and that brilliant smile. The Royals and Mariners next. The Missouri Lottery. When you play, students win. And by your Kansas City Chevy dealers, the official vehicle of the Kansas City Royals. When we come back, Joel will talk with the Royals general manager, Dayton Moore. All right, I'll see you in a little bit.
Thank you.
effort. So it is Ryan Verdugo, who is part of the Jonathan Sanchez trade, being called up to make his Major League debut and start for Kansas City today. I'm Joel Goldberg back at Kauffman Stadium. We all know about the struggles of Jonathan Sanchez, and last night was the final pitch that he'll throw for the Royals as Dayton Moore designating him for assignment today. I asked the Royals GM about the decision.
Oftentimes they kind of take care of themselves. I mean, you don't want to make decisions until you have to. And, we gave Jonathan every opportunity and certainly needed it to work, wanted it to work. And he was putting forth a great effort to doing his part to get out there every single fifth day and have success. And we just felt it was time to kind of diffuse the situation and just release a lot of the tension that's been building and just move on at this point in time.
The lefty Sanchez gone, the lefty Verdugo up, set to take on Ichiro and the Mariners. Fizz and Monty have the call next.
Time Warner Cable, the official TV, internet, and home phone provider of the Kansas City Royals. Royals start this game at 38-50. Seattle's 38-53. Ackley will lead things off, followed by Ichiro. Then Casper Wells, who drove in a career-high 5 runs yesterday. Montero, Smoke, Seager, Olivo, Saunders, and Ryan round out that Seattle 9. And on the mound, 25-year-old lefty Ryan Verdugo, raised in Mount Vernon, Washington. He went to a lot of Mariners games growing up, so I would imagine he's a bit nervous, and he throws ball 1. There's a strike across. Ryan, not a big guy at 6 feet tall, 200 pounds. He was born in Pasadena, California, but as I said, raised in Mount Vernon, Washington, where he won Mr. Baseball in the state in 2005.
So far, Sevy looks nice and smooth out there, unaffected by the nervousness that comes along with their Major League debut.
I love these moments talking about a kid, because it's so important for not only the young man but his entire family. He's able to travel here to the Midwest. And what's your key report on the things that he must do to be successful?
Steve, very important for him to go out and just be himself. Don't try to elevate his game any higher level than he's played at this point. He doesn't have the ability at this stage. Block out that upper tank here. Just Imagine you're pitching. The pitcher's mound's exactly the same distance any place you've ever pitched. Just be yourself. Block out the surroundings of the big leagues. He needs to get ahead of batters and pitch in pitchers' counts.
And that's something that he was challenged to do in the minor leagues. He had 44 walks this year in just 88 innings. He does have good stuff with a lot of strikeouts throughout his minor league career, but falls behind Ichiro Suzuki. And I would imagine this is a young man who, growing up in the Seattle marketplace, watched Ichiro and probably dreamed of pitching to one of the greatest Mariners of all time.
Well, we saw Luke Hochevar pitch against Jake Peavy, his boyhood idol as a pitcher that he locked up when they pitched in the weekend series against the White Sox. So pretty similar situation. A guy you grow up idolizing, watching play a lot. Now you get a chance to play against him.
You do not want to walk this guy. He has outstanding speed. And Verdugo has fallen behind 3-0. 3-1. Ryan was part of the San Francisco Giants organization. San Francisco's 9th round pick in 2008 out of LSU. Swing and a pop up on the right side. And Ichiro bails out Ryan as Hosmer makes the catch for the second out of the first inning. Well, he's got to trust his defense. It's a very good one. It's our forward around the horn defense.
These guys in the outfield can cover some ground, especially Gerard Dyson giving Lorenzo Cain a day off. Chris gets in at second base tonight, and Ryan Verdugo throwing to Salvador Perez.
Well, Ryan Verdugo, he may not have seen last night's game. Came from Omaha today, but I'm sure he watched video of this young man, Casper Wells, who drove in a career-high 5 runs last night, going 2 for 5 with a 2-run triple and a 3-run home run. Since his recall from the minor leagues, he's hit over 300. And there's a ground ball struck foul, so Verdugo wants to be a ghostbuster against Casper tonight. Our time and temperature is brought to you by the parking spot. First pitch 7:10, temperature 98 degrees.
Whew. It's a hot one.
And that ball is struck to left field, and Alex Gordon has to play it on a hop. So Wells with his 3rd hit of this series.
Like he's trying to come inside a little bit on him. Gets the ball in. Casper Wells still able to do a little damage. Base hit to left.
What is his best pitch?
Changeup's his best pitch. I think they're going to rank him fastball, changeup, slider, but I think his changeup is the key pitch for him. May not be his best pitch. I think that's going to be the key pitch for him.
They have a lot of right-handed batters in the lineup. Now you get Jesus Montero coming up. Montero with very good power. 8 home runs this year, although he has not hit one in a little more than a month. He was the key acquisition in the deal with the New York Yankees that sent Michael Pineda east. That ball struck pretty well to center field. Dyson out to the races, but it's off the wall, and coming around to score is Casper Wells. 1-0 Seattle.
DH Jesus Montero gets a ball up in the strike zone. Allows him to get extended. Gerard Dyson gets a pretty good break on a ball just too deep in center field for him. Able to track it down. Allows Casper Wells to score easily.
So Montero is beginning to pick things up. Yeah, he suffered a concussion back on July 4th, and they shut him down for a little while, but he has started this series very, very well. And they had that great 5-run first inning last night. Now it's Justin Smoke who hit a home run in the first last night. And did you know that last night's 5-run first inning marked the first time the Mariners have scored 5 or more runs in the first inning on the road since May of 2008, more than 4 years. That ball is crushed down the left field line and gone. 3-0 Seattle. Verdugo got the first 2 outs, and the next 3 Mariners have reached and scored.
We saw Justin Smoke hit his 12th home run last night in the first inning. Tonight we're going to see number 13. Got a pitch out over the plate. Got extended. Big strong hitter. Switch hitter. Home run.
And Dave Island comes out for a visit, the Royals pitching coach, and talking with Dave before the ball game, he said, you know, Steve, this is a young man who has guts. I love the fact that he has great poise in the mound, but you never know what a young man is going to be like in his major league debut. You never know what's going on inside that mind and that stomach. Good numbers at Omaha. Here is Kyle Seager.
Verdugo's fastball is always around the upper 80s or occasionally in the low 90s, but he has some deception, so he has actually a little bit of benefit from the deception. Maybe looks a little quicker than it is.
But he must hit his spots. When you throw 90-91, you can't afford to make a mistake because mistakes are hit hard, and we've seen that in this first inning. Well located pitch. The 1 through 5 hitters last night for Seattle were 9 for 21 with 3 home runs, 7 runs scored, and 9 RBIs, and they're fast at work once again. A walk. Verdugo, the 11th starting pitcher used by Kansas City this season, and it has been a major problem for Ned Yost all year long. His starting pitching has an ERA of 5.3. Their bullpen has thrown more innings than any team in the American League. Here is Miguel Olivo. Base hit up the middle. The Mariners sent 8 men to the plate in the first inning last night, and they will send 8 to the plate at least in the first inning tonight. A rather quiet crowd here in Kansas City because this team has suffered a lot lately. They are 12 games under for the first time this year. Mike Moustakas is trying to settle down his friend. KC lost 9-4 as Sanchez gave up 7 runs in the first 2 innings of last night's loss.
The Royals actually played good baseball over the weekend, dropping 2 out of 3 to the White Sox, but they've lost now 6 out of 7 and 11 out of 14 games.
2 of those losses to the Sox were by just 1 run, 1 in 14 innings, and of course 2-1 on Sunday. And Salvi Perez will try and settle down Verdugo, who's lost it a little bit. We told you he won Mr. Baseball in the state of Washington in 2005, had Tommy John surgery at the end of his senior year, and so he chose to go to Skagit Junior College in Washington and then chose to go to LSU, where he pitched with Lewis Coleman, fellow Royal, and also Charlie Furbish, who is a relief pitcher for Seattle. But I would imagine you grow up, you are used to going to a ballpark, watching the Seattle Mariners play, and now in your debut, that's who you face. It's a little like Will Smith going to Yankee Stadium and playing A-Rod and Derek Jeter your first time out of the gate.
And regardless of what uniform you wear when you make that debut, there's a lot of butterflies.
He has the advantage against Michael Saunders. The next pitch will be the 27th in the first inning for Ryan Verdugo. Got him to pop it up. But in the first inning, 3 runs. on 4 hits in Ryan Verdugo's Major League debut. Missouri are teaming up to help you stop smoking now. The State of Missouri Tobacco Quit line. Call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. Steve Visiak, Jeff Montgomery, and Joel Goldberg with you. Here's a look at Ned Yost's starting lineup. He will go with Alex Gordon, who has been outstanding since moving back to the leadoff spot with an on-base percentage of over 40. Escobar, Hosmer, Butler, Moustakas, Francoeur, Salvi Perez, Chris Getz in the lineup, and Gerard Tyson giving Lorenzo Cain the night off. Blake Bevan will start for Seattle, a big right-hander, 6'7", 240 out of Irving, Texas.
Bevan's a pitcher that's going to get it up in the low 90s. He's got a good slider that he'll use for his put-away pitch. He also throws a curveball and a changeup.
He was just recalled from the minor leagues. His last major league start was more than a month ago, June 10th, against the Los Angeles Dodgers, when he gave up 6 runs in just 2 innings, but sent out to AAA Tacoma and really pitched well. Monty going 4-0 with a 2.6 earned run average in 6 starts, and he's a command guy.
His last 3 games prior to being demoted were really the downfall for him, as he threw the ball pretty well for the Mariners early in the year, but his last 3 games were disastrous. Went back down, as you mentioned, 4-0 in the stint in the minor leagues, got things right, and here he is tonight.
And you'd think a guy goes 6'7", 240, he would be a power arm like Randy Johnson, running up there 99, 90, 100 miles an hour. But no, he's more of a command guy and a low 90s pitcher with good movement.
Got good life on the fastball. He throws a 2-seamer and a 4-seamer.
Doesn't walk many, just 11 walks and 62 in a third. Big league innings this year. A little bit upstairs, 2 balls and 2 strikes, and he admits that. He has said, I don't have nasty stuff, so I have to be aggressive and get ahead. Skipper Eric Wedge said he's not afraid, pitches with a lot of confidence. A chopper to second. Ackley will take care of Gordon. 1 out.
Take a look here at the Mariners defense. Michael Saunders patrolling center field. Got Justin Smoke and Kyle Seager on the corners. Montero behind the plate tonight, receiving for Blake Bevan.
"23 years old, out of Irving, Texas. He was the Rangers' first-round pick in 2007 out of Irving High School. Now facing Alcides Escobar, and throws him a little slider, that misses for ball one. Escobar hitting over 360 the last month of the season. So he comes in with an excellent batting average of .311, 4 home runs, and 27 RBIs. Had a huge game on Saturday with a couple of home runs, first multi-home run game in his career. To right field, stays up for Ichiro, 2 outs. And what we love to see from guys like Escobar, I was at the ballpark early today, and they had pitchers fielding practice, but they also had bunting practice, and Chris Getz, Terod Dyson, and Escobar, who plays just about every day, was out there early dropping bunts down.
And if you remember, he had an RBI bunt single in the game against the White Sox tonight, so he's going to use his wheels and his ability to bunt to make good things happen.
Eric Hosmer put together a pretty good performance yesterday, going 1 for 3 with a pair of walks. Ball one. Ooh, he had a good rip, and he had several good swings in last night's game. A couple of fastballs left up that he barely got underneath.
He made a nice adjustment the first 2 games back after the break. He didn't look good at the plate at all, but got some work, got some early work with sights, and was able to iron some things out. It seems like he has, if nothing else, established a little confidence in his swing now.
And if we can see more of that, where he's taking that good pitcher pitch. And he's got a favorable count now at 2-1, and that's Kevin Seitz's philosophy. Put yourself in a fastball count and be aggressive with that fastball. 3-1.
Real big key for him, just being patient, allowing the pitcher to make a mistake, allowing the pitcher to eventually throw a pitch that he has to put in, in the strike zone and do some damage on those instead of really trying to force things to happen.
He singled in the 7th inning and drove in a run, and that single broke a 4 for 35 slide he'd been in. There's a shot to left field, and that will go for extra bases. Hosmer has a 2-out double.
See what a difference a couple days make. Now he's staying back, letting that ball get in, and then just driving it. He has the bat speed. He has the power to drive that ball to all parts of the ballpark if he just stays back and is really patient with his approach on hitting. And here we see it. He stays back, the head still. Very nice job. Rolls over.
And he has excellent hand-eye coordination because he's not been striking out that often during this slump. Here is Billy Butler. Billy hit his 17th home run, and yesterday's game he said he struck it as well as any ball he's hit this year, and he's hit some pretty good shots. The one in Minnesota, obviously, that almost completely left the stadium. Of course, the one in St. Louis that went 436, fouled off. But he hit yesterday's shot down that left field line and off the Royals Hall of Fame building.
Billy likes it when the temperature rises. Good second half player.
Kind of loosens the muscles. And we have had some hot weather in Kansas City, no doubt about it. First pitch, it was 98 degrees at 7:10. Ackley hadn't played perfectly. Butler is out, and so are the Royals. We head to the second inning. Seattle with a 3-0 lead. better than his first? Well, on select Thursday nights, experience the new NightLifeKC.com lounge located on the Budweiser patio. Tickets are just $30, which gets you in the door, 2 beverage vouchers, a private DJ, plush seating, and much more. Come enjoy this unique atmosphere in an exclusive outdoor lounge. Next game is on Thursday. Go to Royals.com/NightLifeKC for tickets. Seattle with a 3-0 lead. Young Ryan Verdugo, maybe his nerves have settled down. He had a very good month of July coming into this game. Not allowed a run in July for Omaha, working 3 times, including twice in relief, totaling 8 innings of shutout baseball. Now he'll face Brendan Ryan. Good to see him healthy again after he fouled a ball off of his knee and had to come out of last night's game.
Yeah, last night he wished he would have had one of the catcher's shin guards on, covering that knee instead of just the shin part of his leg. Fouls that ball directly off his knee.
Quite frankly, I'm surprised to see him playing today because there was a big bruise on it this afternoon. But much like the way he designs his beard, he's a tough guy.
He is a tough guy.
Fouled off.
Some guys are just hard to get out of the lineup, and he's one of them.
Well, you get your opportunity. And he was with the St. Louis Cardinals, and he started quite often for the Cardinals. Outstanding defensive player, but they wanted a little more offense, and they got Rafael Furcal, so he was traded to Seattle. Ooh, good pitch, and there's the changeup you're talking about.
Right, that's the location he's looking for, and that's setting it up properly and being in a position to be able to throw it.
Well, he has good defense behind him, and that man is Jeff Francoeur, who had another assist. And our major league leaders, brought to you by Toyota. Jeff has 9. The Royals are in first with 22, and Francoeur nailed another at third base. And quite frankly, I was surprised that Saunders went.
Well, this is number 106 in the last 5 years for him. I'm sorry, since 2005. So he's a guy that has a reputation of being able to throw guys out. So I agree. Surprised they tried to run to third base on his arm.
He and Gordon are 2 of the best corners in the game. There's Alex, won a Gold Glove in his first year, moving from third base to the outfield. Right side. Verdugo's going to cover, but safe at first is Dustin Ackley. Ryan was a little late covering.
This is going to go down in the books as an infield single, but it really should be an error on Ryan Verdugo because he got a late break toward first base. You just can't allow that to happen.
You could see Getzy pointing where he wanted him to go.
Well, as a pitcher, you have to assume that you have to be on the bag. You can't get a late break. Speed runner, especially top of the order guys in the big leagues, are going to beat you there if you have any hesitation at all.
Now we'll get a look at Ryan Verdugo's move. Ackley has good speed. He's stolen 8 bases this year. Verdugo looks to be pretty quick home. That was one of our hot watch picks. Would Seattle steal a base against the combination of Verdugo and Salvi Perez? Ichiro, tough man to double. He popped up his first time for the second out, and with 2 outs looked like Verdugo would get out of trouble, and then bam bam bam, a single, a double, a home run. It was 3-0 before you could blink your eye.
See the throw over to first. When he throws to first, it looks like he picks his right leg up a little bit higher. When he goes home, it's more of almost a modified slide step. So he is quick home.
That will help out Salvi, who peeks in to see if Ned Yost wants to put anything on. And Ichiro sends it foul left side, bringing the count to 2-1. Ichiro picked up a couple of hits last night and now has 2,525 in his big league career. again struck foul on a hittable pitch.
Steve, we saw the Mariners break out some runs last night, and here again early tonight. We're going to look at their numbers in the majors. They're first in scoring runs on the road with 232 runs scored. They are last while playing at Safeco.
That is 4.9 runs per game on the road. How about that? A full run lower at Safeco. And Safeco obviously is a pitcher's ballpark, and with the marine layer, ball doesn't carry as well as it will here. And this is a pitcher's ballpark. Runner goes, pitch is swung on, base hit right side, and turning second going to third is Dustin Ackley. And Verdugo's really got a pitch now with runners in the corners and the red hot Casper Wells coming up.
Looks like it may have been a straight steal, but it worked out just like a hit and run. Had the hole open between first and second base. Ichiro able to find it very easily.
Ichiro with his third hit in this series, and coming up, Casper Wells. Great first two games of this series with a home run his first time up, a 3-run blast yesterday, and a 2-run triple in the second inning. And they got him out the next 3 times, but he opens this one with a base hit to left field. Ichiro always a threat to go. Verdugo brings it home, and Wells with a swing and a miss. Vin Mazzaro already warming in the Kansas City bullpen. Ned Yost does not want to let this game get away like it did last night.
Talk about Casper Wells, 5 RBIs. We're going to take a look here at a couple of other guys. Will Middlebrooks and Matt Holliday also with 5 RBIs against the Royals.
Back on May 7th, Will Middlebrooks was a big reason that Kevin Youkilis was traded to the Chicago White Sox, and Matt Holliday, the Royals simply could not get him out on June 16th. In there, strike 3 called, a big strikeout for Ryan Verdugo.
Very well executed, set up perfectly. Goes with a hard fastball away. Just kind of paints it right on the outside corner.
Now he wants to close out this inning against Jesus Montero, who doubled on a high fastball thrown by Ryan. And Salvi Perez was asking for the ball down. Throws a pitch. You can see Salvi motioning with his glove. No, got to get that ball down to Montero because this guy is so strong.
Well, we saw what he did with his double in the first inning with the ball up in the strike zone. He just doesn't miss those very often.
Monty, what adjustments would you make when you knew that, golly, I'm having a tough time getting the ball down?
Oftentimes it would be a sign for me that I had to go to one of my off pitches, because oftentimes the fastball is a pitch that you overthrow and it gets up in the strike zone. As a result, if I would go to the breaking ball, I had a much better tendency on getting the ball down in the strike zone.
He's fallen behind Montero. Well, he got that one down, but in the wrong spot, and it's 3 balls and no strikes to Jesus with Justin Smoak next. He got the first 2 outs in the first inning. Then the trouble started in this inning. Struck out Brendan Ryan, his first big league strikeout. Then back-to-back hits. Then a key strikeout of Casper Wells. Now Montero with a 3-1 count.
One adjustment that a pitcher coming to the major leagues for the first time oftentimes has to make. Here's a 3-1 count. You may not want to throw a fastball in this count if you have confidence in maybe throwing a changeup.
Whack to left field for a base hit. This will score Ackley to make it 4-0 Seattle. And Dave Island's coming out for his second visit. Made one in the first. Now he'll make another here in number 2.
Pitch is thigh high. He's on the outside part of the plate, but still he got it up in that happy zone. Allows Montero to get his bat extended. Here's a pitch and just kind of drifts right back over to the middle part of the ball of the plate.
And it was just a suggestion by you, but you said 3-1 changeup wouldn't be a bad idea.
Well, 3-1 count, hitters oftentimes are looking fastball, and if you have a good changeup and have the confidence in throwing for a strike, you can almost get the hitter to screw himself into the ground, because he's going to come out of his shoes thinking it's a fastball. Middle part of the plate is going to finish away from him, and even if he fouls it off, now you've got another opportunity. You don't give in to him in this situation.
Justin Smoke might even see a first pitch changeup here.
Well, you're down 4 runs, 4-0 here early. You don't want to give up any more runs, so I think you got to have pitch with a little urgency.
He does throw a breaking ball on the outside corner. Seattle way too comfortable against Ryan Verdugo.
The tough part about this all, Steve, is he's out there for the first time in a major league game, and there's so many things running through his head right now.
Now he goes with the off-speed pitch, but Smoke lets it go.
A lot of times we'll hear people talk about the ability to slow the game down and really be able to concentrate and focus. And that's, again, one of the difficult tasks when you are out there for the first time in a major league uniform or in this environment.
Well, he's not missing by much, but he is missing. And we've seen too many hitters counts for the Mariners early in this game. Ryan Verdugo in his major league debut, the young man who was born in Pasadena but raised in Mount Vernon, Washington, struggling in innings 1 and 2. That is ball 4, so he has loaded the bases. This is something that Ned Yost does not want to see. He may have to, let Ryan work through this mess. But remember, 2 long relievers had to go 7 2/3 innings last night. Jonathan Sanchez gave up 7 runs and only went 1 2/3. It absolutely kills your bullpen, regardless of how talented they are. If you can never give them a lead, it's difficult to nail down victories.
In the key report, we talked about pitching ahead, and Ryan Verdugo, unfortunately, is not doing that tonight.
And Seager is going to knock in 3. And it's a 7-0 game, just like last night. Well, they only scored 2, 6-0, as they were unable to score Justin Smoke from first base, and Ned Yost is going to make a pitching change. Wow. Ben Mazzaro we will see come out of the Kansas City bullpen. Our Chevy call to the bullpen for the 2nd straight night. There's a ring that comes in the 2nd. Seattle with a 6-0 lead here in inning number 2 as Ryan Verdugo, his evening is not done yet as the 2 men on base still belong to him, but Mazzaro was called up from Omaha with Ryan, and he has pitched with Kansas City in the past, and you see the numbers. This will be game number 9. 5.7 earned run average.
Vin Mazzaro's had the opportunity to start and relieve for the Royals. Important for him now to really approach this as a start and get some length out of this appearance and do exactly what Everett Tiefer did last night and get deep into the game.
Mazzaro begins his 3rd stint of the year with Kansas City after being recalled from AAA today. He's 2-1 with a 4.5 earned run average in 10 appearances for Omaha, with both relief appearances in the latest stint with the Storm Chasers. Three and one.
Mariners hitters hitting in this familiar 3-1 count tonight. Royals pitchers have gone there too many times.
And they have helped out a really offensively challenged team. 3-2. I mean, the Mariners offense is either last or second to last in 10 different offensive categories, including second to last in batting, runs scored, and home runs, but they have taken apart Kansas City in the first 2 games of this series and in the first 2 innings. Well, Mazzaro gets the big strikeout. The damage has been done as Seattle scoring 3 in each of the first 2 off Ryan Verdugo. For the past 14 years, Kim of Overland Park has worked as a teacher in the life skills program at the Kansas State School for the Blind. Kim specializes in teaching kids with multiple handicaps and also uses her education and experience to help with all age levels as well as the deaf and blind students. She previously spent time working for the Kansas City, Missouri School District as well as the Perkins School for the Blind located in Watertown, Massachusetts, and she is sitting in the Buck O'Neill Legacy seat, which goes to a young person who has done amazing service in our Kansas City community. Here is Mike Moustakas facing Blake Bevan. Ball one. Royals with a base hit in the first inning, a double by Eric Hosmer, but that was it. Mike skies one in the air, center field. Saunders under it. 1 out. Get downloads up to 50 megabits per second with Time Warner Cable Ultimate Internet. Blake Bevan is topped out at 94. Vin Mazzaro has topped out at 93. Jeff Francoeur the batter, and Frenchie takes down low and outside. Jeff 0 for 4 last night. He had a solid series against the Chicago White Sox, and that was after struggling in a 3-week stretch right before the All-Star break where he hit 167. That's fouled off.
Yeah, he had started the season very slow. Then he kind of got on fire for a while. I don't know if I say on fire, but he got hot. And then he went on that skid there before the break. But it seems like after the break, he's kind of relaxed. He's coming out. Different attitude.
Well, he gets hit on the side by Bevan. And earlier this year, Jeff got hit in a similar location, right in the ribs, close to his sternum.
Bevan fastball is going to run right up in it, almost gets him in the number in the front. It's number 4 on the year for Frenchie being drilled. It's not a category you really want to lead the league in.
There are those guys who were plunked over 200 times. I always remember the name Ron Hunt, who would stand on top of home plate.
My former battery mate Mike McFarland got hit a lot.
And here is Salvi Perez moving up in the lineup. He was batting 9th, and Ned Yost trying to get him further up in the lineup the way he has been swinging the bat. 371, 5 home runs, 9 RBIs, and he has such great power potential. But right now, Ned likes the way the lineup is progressing, with Gordon as terrific as he has been in the leadoff spot. That's down the line. 1 and 2. Inning over. to the Negro Leagues. The first 20,000 fans will receive a Buck O'Neil bobblehead courtesy of Hy-Vee. Both teams will be wearing Negro Leagues jerseys, and there will be festivities throughout the game. The Royals will host the Minnesota Twins, so go to Royals.com or call 1-800-6-ROYALS for tickets. Got some ribs going on?
Yeah, out by the production truck.
Our post-game meal is in production, courtesy of the Seattle Mariners production team. And they should be cooking the meals the way they have been cooking the Royals starting pitchers. I mean, the last two starts by Sanchez and Verdugo, Seattle has scored 14 runs in just 3 innings total. Mazzaro will start his first full inning against Michael Saunders, Brendan Ryan, and Dustin Ackley. This is strange territory for Seattle. They're not used to this. Good pitch by Mazzaro. How about that? Back-to-back strikeouts.
Nice start to the third inning here. Been Mazzaro. Looks like it may have been a cutter.
Base hit left field. It will make it to the wall, and Brendan Ryan will have 2. He's going for 3. Throw by Escobar. Got him. You know, whether it's Gordon or Francoeur that started, they're getting it to a cutoff man in Getz or Escobar, who have great arms as well.
Well, especially Escobar has got the great arm. You get the ball into Alcides Escobar, you got a good chance of something very good happening. Great exchange. Right on the money. Mike Moustakas getting pretty good at selling it down there at third base, too.
Dustin Ackley comes up, and look at Alex Gordon climb the wall, try and take care of it. It is a foul ball, but a great effort by Alex Gordon. That's what you love about the guy. It doesn't matter whether it's a 1-run game or the team's down by 7. Look at this effort.
Here's Alex scaling the wall. I'm not sure if that hit off the rail and he overran it. The ball went behind him somehow.
It is foul. And then Mazzaro runs one up at 93 miles an hour. Hosmer has it. Mazzaro there in time. And the Royals do get the Mariners out in the third. Good job by Vin, and good job by the Royals defense of Gordon, Escobar, and Moustakas. Nothing beats fun at the old ballpark.
That's correct.
Even when you're down 6-0.
Well, it would sure be a lot more fun if the Royals offense would get the team back into the game, but I got to imagine it's difficult. I know when you're pitching in a game when it's 12-1, it's a little more difficult to focus and concentrate on your job. And the last 2 nights, the Royals hitters have been in that same predicament where they've been working from behind.
Chris Getz will try and get the team started well here in inning number 3. I believe I said the last 2 starters have given up 14. They've given up 13 runs in 3 innings, the last 2 starts. Sanchez and Verdugo. Ryan 6 runs in an inning and 2 2/3 today. Gets to center field. It stays up for Saunders. 1 out. We told you that Blake Bevan was the Texas Rangers' first-round pick in 2007 out of Irving High School, and they really liked his work. But when Texas, in that 2010 season, was headed towards the playoffs, they knew they needed an anchor, somebody to really set the rotation and be a number 1, and they traded Bevan to Seattle for Cliff Lee and Mark Lowe, so they got a good relief pitcher and the number 1 gun in Cliff Lee, who was terrific towards the end of 2010. Also coming to Seattle were Justin Smoke, who's now their first baseman, and Josh Lukey and Matt Lawson. Gerard Dyson, the batter, giving Lorenzo Cain the night off. You see Dyson in there against a few right-handers. In the air, deep right center field. And off the wall. And this is usually 3 and will be for Dyson. With his speed, any ball struck to right center field that makes it to the wall is a triple.
It's one of the harder balls I've seen Gerard Dyson hit. It's a sinker, just kind of works back to the middle part of the plate. Off the right center field screen out there, and Gerard Dyson is thinking right off the get-go, I'm going 3, standing up at third as well.
And because it's so early in the game, this is where you want to be a good situational hitting team and get that run home from third. Gordon has been hot. And Alex with 3 hits in yesterday's game along with a walk. Now 12 for his last 27 to raise the average to 284. It's been a while since he hit a home run, 125 at bats. His last home run was June 12th against a pretty good right-hander by the name of Zach Greinke, and he hit that one off of his foot. Dyson at third, 1 out. Seattle by 6, scoring 3 times in the first and 3 more in the second. Blake Bevan called up from the minor leagues, where he pitched very well for AAA Tacoma, 4-0 record with a 2.6 earned run average in his last 6 starts. In the dirt.
Blake Bevan's number much more effective in that first time through. Second time through, as we're seeing Alex here now. Batter's at 382 clip.
Three balls and 1 strike. Gordon hits it well. Right center field. This away back. Dyson scores easily. Alex going to third. Here's the throw. Safe! Eric Wedge will argue it was a terrific relay throw, Monty, and Alex taking a chance with one out because now a ground ball or fly ball can score him.
We're down 6-1 in the game. Alex hits the ball nice. So I was surprised to see him try to stretch the double into the triple, but he had other thoughts. He picked the ball up before he got to second base, made up his mind he was going.
The Royals may have received a break. The angle we saw looked like the ball got there before the hand got to the bag. Now Escobar trying to get him home. Now Cedes sends it foul. Kansas City on the scoreboard has cut it to 5. And I understand his mentality with one out. You never want to be that out at third base. But now a ground ball, a wild pitch, a pass ball, a fly ball can make it a 6-2 game. Or this, a base hit. Escobar stays hot, knocking in his 28th run.
Escobar gets a pitch. It's up in the strike zone. A little off the end of the bat, but just enough to get into center field for an RBI.
So Escobar hitting over 360 the last month of the season, and Carl Willis comes out, the pitching coach for Seattle, trying to calm down his young right-hander Blake Bevan. Remember, he's only 23 years of age. The Royals saw Ryan Verdugo at the age of 25 make his major league debut, and he struggled, allowing 6 runs in an inning and 2/3. Now Bevan in trouble in the third. And fans, every Wednesday is Ink Student Night and local music showcase. Show your valid student ID at the box office to get a $7 ticket. Make sure to get here early for live local music and drink specials in the outfield experience before the game. Tomorrow, the band Hearts of Darkness will be playing. So go now to Royals.com/student night for tickets. Hearts of Darkness. Why does it always have to be something dark? Why can't it be Hearts of Joy? Hearts filled with joy.
It's for the younger generation.
And Ron Swan, our Emmy Award-winning cameraman, just rolled his eyes at me. Here's the pitch, and Miguel drops the baseball, and Escobar with the steal, number 14 this year. So he now is in scoring position. And Jeff, I like this kind of pressure. Even down 4 runs, they are getting in the mind of young Blake Bevan.
Well, they've been very aggressive on the base paths. We saw Alex Gordon stretch a double into a triple. Now Alcides Escobar here with the stolen base.
Hosmer doubled his first time up. Tight, 1-1.
There's always a key word that follows the word aggressive when it comes to base running, and that's intelligent. Aggressive but intelligent.
And in hitting, Kevin Seitzer calls it controlled aggression. And that's what he wants from Eric Hosmer. Get yourself in a fastball count and take a whack. He's missed with 2 pitches inside, and those are pitches that Eric had been getting himself out on lately. Ooh, he had another good rip. And following a rip like that back in the first inning, he then got a pitch away and doubled on the left field line. Trying to chase Escobar home from second base. They are playing Eric to pull, even though he doubled the left field his last time up. The outs recorded. Escobar does make it a third, but 2 outs now in the third inning. Fans, time for our sprint, you call it. This is the one you can text, get your phones out and text 432-432 and enter the keyword Royals. Who will lead the Royals in home runs this year? Will it be Billy Butler or Mike Moustakas? Billy with 17, fans, and Moose with 16. And here comes Mr. Butler. Maybe both these guys can encourage voting in this third inning. Royals have scored 2 so far in the third, and they have Escobar at third. Billy grounded out to second base his first time up. Ooh, he had a rip. Looking fastball, didn't get it.
A little earlier in the year, I was asked that question, who's going to hit more home runs for the Royals? I actually did pick Mike Moustakas, but Billy Butler, given the fact that he's a designated hitter, you got to think his legs are going to be fresher for a longer part of the season.
There's a base hit to right field. Great piece of hitting by Butler. Escobar checks in and cuts Seattle's lead in half.
Here by Billy Butler, head down on the ball, goes the other way with it. The result, exactly what he was looking for. A base hit with the RBI attached to it.
Mike Moustakas, 1 for 4 yesterday, or excuse me, 2 for 4 yesterday. One was a base hit to center field, and the other one a swinging bunt up the third base line. Steve Physiak with Jeff Montgomery, and standing by is Joel Goldberg. Joel, what do you have?
Well, Fizz, it's interesting. Baseball is such a small world, and so while Mike Moustakas faced Blake Bevan in the minor leagues, he knew about him when he was 17 years old. The reason why? They were teammates on the U.S. Junior National Team, and down in Cuba, that tournament they played in, they were roommates, so got to know him very well. Freddie Freeman was on that team, Christian Colon, Jared Parker. They finished second to South Korea, so he has an idea or two of what he's facing here, and probably some of the sleeping habits as well. The big 6'7".
Both of them first-round picks. Bevan by Texas, and Moose, of course, by the Royals. In there. Now a 3-1 count to Moose. How about a swing here? How about a rip? Told you, you call it. Who will lead the Royals in home runs? Moose needs 1 to tie, and Butler right now has the lead. Just did miss his pitch on a 3-1 count. Saunders wants it and takes care of it, but in the inning, KC scores 3 times on 4 hits. They're back in the game. tour in his fan seating section. $21 gets you a seat in the right field cheering section, a limited edition Frenchie Quarter t-shirt, and Mardi Gras beads. The next Frenchie Quarter is on Thursday, so get your tickets now at Royals.com/Frenchie, and that will be a day game. It'll be a hot one here at the stadium, but if you love sunshine and you love to get a tan, it's a good ballpark to come to. And Thursday it will be Felix Hernandez, who's an outstanding young right-hander, against Luke Hochevar. He's pitched very well lately for the Royals. Tomorrow night we've got an evening game. Kevin Millwood against Bruce Chen. Here's Ichiro. He singled his last time up. Zero delivers a pitch that barely misses outside, and the count is 2-1. Now he's fallen behind Ichiro, and the last thing he wants to do is allow this speedy guy to get on to lead off an inning, not when his team came up with 3 runs in their half of the third. Out of play, 3-2.
You're right, Stevie. This is the bear down inning. This is when you want to throw a 0 on the board. Allow your team to continue to chip away.
Again, he tries to slap it to left field as Mazzaro throws another strike. Well, he's making Vin work and making him throw strike after strike. Ichiro's not a guy who walks that often. He's only walked 16 times this year. He wants base hits. A lot of teams lately, Jeff, have been getting him out inside, hard fastballs in on the hands of the veteran Ichiro, who's now 38 years young.
Well, that's the word on, aging hitters, is the bat slows down and you have the ability to get them out. But here you can see Mazzaro's not come inside really hardly at all.
Moustakas, quick toss, got him. Nice play by Moose.
Speedy Ichiro gets a running start out of that box, and Mike Moustakas knows he's going to have to show off his 97-mile-an-hour fastball across the diamond.
Here is Casper Wells, who was singled and struck out swinging. The Royals have defended for the most part in this game, with the exception of one moment. Came back in the second inning with starting pitcher Ryan Verdugo.
Yeah, Dustin Ackley at the plate. Verdugo gets a little late start, ends up being a base hit. That would have been the second out of the inning. He ends up scoring, and that was a 3-run inning. And then here he ends the third inning, hits a ground ball. Vin Mazzaro heads up, gets over in time to get Ackley at first base.
So Ben, whose best game this year was a 6 shutout effort he had at Busch Stadium against the St. Louis Cardinals. A terrific offense, and he got the win in that game. Pitched really well, commanding his fastball and also getting a good breaking ball on the outside corner to some very good Cardinal hitters.
And that's what I've really noticed from Vin Mazzaro this year as opposed to when we saw Vin Mazzaro last year. His slider is much more refined, has a late life on it, so it's a real good out pitch for him.
Was that a pitch that you developed later in your career?
No, it was a pitch I developed in college, so it was a pitch that allowed me to have a career.
Well, you had 4 pretty good ones. Moustakas will take care of Casper Wells. 2 quick outs here in the 4th inning. Jesus Montero has had a good game. A double, a single, both hits have driven in runs. And one thing Ben must know just from watching Montero's first 2 at-bats, anything belt or above, the guy's a pretty good hitter.
He really is.
Didn't miss by much inside. Montero with now 30 RBIs in the season. And he whacks that one to left field, so he is 3 for 3. Starting to heat up. Royals fans, be sure to stop by and pick up your 4 for $44 deal at Taco Bell. This ticket package includes 4 Royals game tickets, 4 hats, and 4 Taco Bell combo meals, all for only $44. This deal is good for any Royals home game. You can get your tickets at participating Taco Bell locations or by going to royals.com/Taco Bell. Now Mazzaro has to face another Mariner. The Royals have been unable to get out tonight. Smoke, who homered and also walked. Strike 1. This is another guy who came in rather cold, although he's done better hitting away from Safeco Field. He's only hitting 160 at home this year and 233 on the road. Belted a home run in the first inning last night. Another in the first inning tonight. Both 2-run shots. That gets away.
They may have hit him. I think it did hit him.
It did. So Smoke is on.
Trying to get that slider on the back leg. He gets him on the back foot, it looks like, maybe even the front foot. Get him on the right toe. So
Salvi Perez trying to calm down his young pitcher Ben Mazzaro. He was able to get the first 2 outs, but fell behind Ichiro. Finally got him on a ground out to third. Wells had a good at bat and lined out to third. And a solid single to left by Montero. And Smoke is hit by a pitch. And here's Kyle Seager. Broke out of an 0 for 11 with a 2-run double in the second. That was the last batter that Ryan Verdugo faced. Kansas City desperately trying to find consistency in their rotation. They've had only 4 quality starts their last 17 games. Quality start is when you give up 3 runs or less in 6 innings or more. Not asking much. Three and 0. So much of the trouble that Seattle has pushed on Kansas City has come with 2 outs. They scored all 3 runs with 2 outs in the first inning. And they scored all 3 runs with 2 outs in the second inning. Seager given the green light, and Frenchie takes care of his line drive. A little fortune smiling on Ben Mazzaro. dealer. And by AT&T, the world's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. Steve Physiok, Jeff Montgomery, and Joel Goldberg getting ready to dine. Wow, that looks pretty good.
Steve, you know what I had for dinner, and that looks pretty good to me.
You had 2 oatmeal cookies. That was it. Yum, yum. Well, if you've got a question for us, whether it's about dining or baseball, go to FS Kansas City for Twitter Tuesday. And Joel Goldberg, he loves those questions. Here is Jeff Francoeur getting ready to dig in for his second time up. He was hit by a pitch his first time up and then erased on the Salvi Perez 5-4-3 double play. One ball, one strike. Blake Bevan got the start, pitched 2 shutout innings, then gave up 3 to Kansas City on 4 hits in the 3rd inning. His fastball is not overpowering. It's been between 88 and 93 miles an hour, but he has had that good slider. That might be his best pitch.
That is definitely his put-away pitch. He gets it in 2 strike counts, especially the right-handed batters. He's going to use that slider the majority of the time to try to finish them off.
May come back with it right here. Well, it got away from him. It came inside to Jeff.
And he throws a curveball as well, so I think that probably was his curveball. Trying to show maybe a little different break. You know, one that's more of a gradual one that goes straight down as opposed to the one that really kind of bites off the plate like the slider.
Barely misses with the fastball. So the count has gone full 3-2. He was ahead of Jeff. 1 ball, 2 strikes, and now Blake kind of looked out towards center field as if he was angry with himself for allowing Francoeur to get back in the count. Right-handers hit 271 against Blake. Right side, Ichiro. 1 out. It was a rough night for Kansas City, losing last night 9-4, but one of the highlights was Salvi Perez's 5th home run of the year.
You'll see a fastball up in a strike zone, allowing Salvador Perez to get extended with those big arms.
And he and Moose celebrated at the very end. Great to see him with the organization signed through 2019. Now he has the deal, but then there are 3 option years, and I think a guy with leadership qualities, with promise offensively and defensively, this is the nugget you want to build around.
And he was a situation where the contract, looking at the dollars compared to what some other catchers in the game are making who have more experience, maybe not the dollars were there, but it was a contract that worked both for him and for the club, so they were able to really make that deal happen as a result.
And he said it was also an opportunity to help out his family right now.
Exactly. Major league minimum is a nice number. You're going to make good money regardless, but in order to secure that future for a long time and be able to do that for his family, that is, I'm sure, very special.
Popped him up. Ackley takes care of Perez, and bouncing back is Blake Bevan with 2 quick outs in this 4th inning. Fans, are you hitting the road? Well, if you are, you can take the Royals with you this year. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Royals out-of-market game live online and on your favorite devices in HD quality. Visit Royals.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. Chris Getz is up. He flied out to center field his first time up. Takes a first pitch fastball for strike 1. Can you imagine what it would be like to face a guy like Blake Bevan in high school because he was a big lad at 18 years of age at Irving High School at 6'7". He wasn't 240 then, but he was almost. And he just blew away the competition. Getz takes a good breaking ball, 1 ball and 2 strikes. He had a playoff game in high school, Monty, where he threw a perfect game, struck out 18, including 14 in a row.
Wow, that's fairly perfect.
That's being in the zone. Getz chops one to short. Ryan throws him out. The inning is over. 1, 2, 3 go the Royals as we head to the 5th, trailing by 3.
In the top of the 5th, Joel Goldberg back at the K, and we have plenty of Twitter questions that have been sent in to Goldberg KC, also to FS Kansas City. Let's start with this one. It pertains to tonight, and we were speculating about guys that could get called up for this game here today, last night. From Jake Giles, why didn't the Royals call up Jake Odorizzi when Sanchez got sent down last night? And guys, this was about availability. Verdugo was available, Mazzaro was available. On the flip side, Odorizzi pitched a couple of days ago, same for Will Smith, so this was more about availability.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes you have to be ready to pitch, and certainly on short notice you have to be able to get some innings too. So Jake Odorizzi certainly was not an option.
And not only that, but now they can mix and match. And Saturday is a question mark. Ned Yost says he still does not know who he's going to go with on Saturday, but this allows the minor leagues to pace their guys out if one of them is going to be Saturday's starter.
Right. Joel and I talked about it on the pregame, and it'll be interesting if some of those guys, heard Joel mention Jake Odorizzi, Will Smith, if those guys don't pitch in their next startup, probably be a pretty good indication they may be the next call-up.
And Doug Davis did pitch today for the Omaha Storm Chasers. That was a guy that a lot of people thought might be pitching today, and there is a ground ball up the middle. So Miguel is on base for the second time.
Well, my hunch, guys, is that we end up seeing Will Smith just because he's been pitching better than Jake Odorizzi lately. Jake went 6 innings, 1 run, but had 4 walks in his last start. We talked about Will Smith, how well he's been pitching, but Fizz, you're right, and this sort of leads to our next question from Jeree Hopkins, who's our starting 5, and we know coming up Chen, Hochevar, Mendoza, but with Tiford slotted to pitch on Sunday instead of Saturday, and Saturday would be normal rest, but he's going Sunday. That leaves that opening for Saturday. Verdugo wouldn't have been in the mix for that because that would be on 3 days rest, and so it's got to be somebody coming from the minors. And Monty, I think you hit on it there, right? Let's look and see between Odorizzi and Smith who is pitching and not over the next few days. But Smith has been the best pitcher of late.
I like that kid, too. I think he's got good makeup. I do know that his major league debut was at Yankee Stadium. First batter he faces, Derek Jeter. And then A-Rod takes him deep in that first inning as well.
Well, it was a tough way to start your career, similar to Ryan Verdugo tonight, but then he came back in that game in Cleveland. I think it may have been his next start, and got in a little trouble early, but then he got really tough.
Center field deep. Dyson away back and away gone. Wow. Michael Saunders has just interrupted the Royals' comeback with a 2-run bomb off Vin Mazzaro to make it 8-3.
Saunders is a big left-hander. Ball leaked back out to the middle part of the plate. Was down pretty good, but just leaked out to the middle part of the plate, and he got extended.
Now Brendan Ryan, who doubled in his last at bat, but then was cut down trying to stretch a double into a triple for Saunders. It is home run number 9. Seattle's not used to this kind of offense. They don't know what to do with themselves. Kansas City really struggling mightily. They're in danger of losing their 12th game in the last 15. A lot of time left in this one, but they must straighten out their starting rotation. They will get back to the main guys starting tomorrow with Bruce Chen, and then go with Hochevar on Thursday. Minnesota comes to town on Friday. Luis Mendoza will get the start in that one. His last start against the Twins was magnificent. That was a career best 8 innings, and Tim Collins started to warm in the Kansas City pen. Well, one thing is for sure, Jeff Montgomery, there are opportunities available in this rotation.
Well, there certainly are, and it'll be really an interesting second half of the season to see who emerges or evolves as the guys are going to take a really good look at. I'm sure we'll see a few guys from the minor leagues leading up to September, but September could be very interesting.
Ned Yost is waiting for a starter to take the bull by the horns. Mazzaro is done after giving up a single, a home run, then a walk. Our Chevy call to the bullpen. Tim Collins. Seattle leading 8-3. This will be game number 41 for Tim, whose ERA is right now at 3.5. And while we have the time, we've got a chance to get another question from Joel Goldberg.
Well, this is a simple one, guys. I've got a lot of people, and I've been responding to all of them, just wondering where Rex is. And I've wanted to let everybody know, but now I can let everybody know that Monty does 20 games in the booth for us, and then all the pre and post games, and Rex does 120. So somebody did ask if he was working on his fantastic tan somewhere. That could be possible, right, Fizz?
Well, he's actually with his family. They were here for the All-Star break in Kansas City, and then he flew back with them to Southern California. And Monty was kind enough to sit in his chair.
Well, it is Monty's chair.
It is Monty's chair. He brought it all the way from home and sharing the sofa with me.
Anyway, you guys enjoy your sofa over there, and I'll move on to the next question. And this is an interesting one. This one pertaining to pitching, and the question is, who was the last true ace to start for KC who you knew had a better chance to win no matter who you played? And
Zach Greinke.
That's what I was going to say. The suggestion from it was KT Hart 66 was Apier or Cohen, but you got to go with Greinke, right?
Oh, absolutely. The Cy Young year he had, and despite the lack of run support.
You could categorize all three of those guys as that type pitcher, but Zach Greinke obviously was the last one to do it here.
This one just in from Jayhawks 08. Are there any legit options in AAA to help the pitching staff? And I think we've talked about a couple, but what do you guys think about what's down there in Omaha right now?
Well, Odorizzi, I think long-term is a guy that you want to slot into your rotation, whether it be in the middle part of your rotation or where it's going to be, but he's a guy that has put up some numbers.
Dyson will not reach this one. One more comes across, and Ackley has himself an extra base hit as Collins gives up a long triple. Ryan checks in to make it 9-3. Odorizzi certainly is one guy, but the one thing that, Joel, you talked about is the fact that he had 99 pitches in just 6 innings in that last start, so he needs to get early count outs. There are others, though. Giordano Ventura, obviously down the line. He was promoted the other day from Class A to Double A, and he has an electric arm. We had a chance to watch him in the Futures game. Mike Montgomery is at Double A trying to refine himself. Refine himself or just find himself?
Just find himself. And I think the thing is interesting, and when you look at pitching prospects, it's a lot more difficult to predict or project out where guys are going to end up being in a rotation or in a bullpen. It usually takes at least 4 or 5 really good prospects to net one quality, solid major league pitcher.
Another guy is John Lamb, who's day-to-day right now. He had Tommy John surgery last year, but he was scheduled to start, but he had tendinitis that he suffered in his left foot from conditioning drills. And then, of course, you've got to talk about Chris Dwyer, promoted from Double A to Triple A, didn't start well the other day. What did he give up? 7 runs and 5+ for against Oklahoma City. And Kyle Zimmer pitched extremely well. Now, he's our first-round draft choice this year from the University of San Francisco. It will take him a little bit of time, but he threw 3 scoreless innings in Surprise, Arizona, and had 5 strikeouts. And starting pitching is what it's all about.
When Dayton Moore came in 2006, as one of his initial comments, pitching is the currency of baseball. We're going to load up on arms, and they've certainly done that. And unfortunately, Danny Duffy is the example of the guy who got to the big leagues and showed a lot of promise, but he's hurt now. I think he's going to be fine, but it's going to take a year extra for him to be a contributor to the staff.
And that's why I think probably that year contributing will be 2014.
That's right.
Because it doesn't take just 1 year and then all of a sudden you get it back. Usually with the Tommy John, it's 12 months to 18. And they'll take their time on that young arm. Knowing Danny's personality, he thinks he can come back next week.
Well, the body always tells you when it's time.
Yeah.
The hard thing for a young player especially is to listen to the body.
Casper Wells goes down swinging. Tim Collins trying to find his consistency again. He's gone through a stretch that has hurt him a bit.
Yeah, going back about 6 weeks ago, he was throwing as good as I've seen him throw. His curveball was electric.
But he has allowed 8 earned runs over his last 8 outings, and that followed a stretch you talked about in which he permitted just 2 runs over 18 appearances with an 0.93 earned run average. So they will intentionally walk Montero, who's been on fire in this game with 3 hits. And he had 2 last night, so 5 hits in the first 2 games of this 4-game series.
All right, well, another Twitter question for you guys. This one a little bit earlier today. You know, we've had this one a bunch of times throughout the season, and now maybe Hosmer looking like he's finding his stroke, but it's a good topic to discuss. What is the chance that Hosmer stays with the big league club the entire season, or should he go down? And, Monty, we had somebody ask that on the pregame show earlier today, too, about if that's in discussions. I see it as an absolute last resort.
I'm sure it has been in discussions. I'm sure that there are probably different camps, but I would think the majority of those camps are saying allow him to figure this thing out at this level. We saw what he has the ability to do last year. We know that he has the tools. We know he's going to be a star player. And it's tough to figure this game out at this level, but I think that's what Ned Yost and Dayton Moore would like to see him do.
I was talking with Robbie Thompson of the Seattle Mariners about their young club, and he said, you know, remember when I came up with the San Francisco Giants and we were just beginning to learn how to win in the late 80s, and we brought up Matt Williams, and he was back and forth from AAA to the major leagues, and he became a real star in the big leagues. But it just takes time. But the fact that they're being patient with him as there's a line drive struck to left field, and Alex Gordon will take care of it and help the Royals get out of the inning. But it is so difficult to be patient with potential. More Twitter Tuesday to come.
Joel Goldberg back at Kauffman Stadium, where we continue our Twitter questions, and got a couple, Monty, for you. This is one that's come up over time throughout the year and even last year, and you've always had an interesting take on it, but maybe the situation has changed a little bit. So this one, again, involving the rotation. Why won't the Royals experiment with Aaron Crow in the starting rotation? It's come from a few different people. What do you think, Monty?
Well, I think at some point you may have to consider that. That was obviously going to be an option in spring training until Joakim Soria's elbow injury, requiring Tommy John and season-ending surgery for him. He has not had success in the minor leagues as a starting pitcher. And one thing I noticed with Aaron Crow when he comes into games now, he's oftentimes really good in the first inning, but the innings after that he's not nearly as effective. So he would certainly take a lot of work and almost a project to get him the ability to build up that strength to be able to go back-to-back innings.
Here's another one, Monty, that we got from multiple people. This one, the latest, coming from Samuel L. Griffin. Why isn't Kane playing every day? Fairly simple answer on this one, but a lot of people want to know because he's off to such a great start.
Well, he's just off the disabled list, and you're going to have to give him some days off. And I know the heat has a little bit of the factor, but when you got a right-handed pitcher, you don't want to give Lorenzo Kane his days off against a righty. You give Gerard Dyson an opportunity to play against a right-handed pitcher here like a Blake Bevan. So I'm sure that Ned Yost will have him out there the majority of the time, provided his legs allow him to do that. But you're going to have to give him some breaks at this time of year.
I would imagine he'll be in there despite a right-hander tomorrow in Kevin Millwood. Maybe Dyson goes on Thursday against Felix Hernandez, who is, well, he's death on both lefties and righties, but really controls right-handers.
Absolutely.
But it's interesting about pitching, particularly in the minor leagues. They find out how far a guy can go, and I'm not saying Aaron Crow is one of them. Well, with the Angels, Frankie Rodriguez would be outstanding as a starting pitcher in innings 1, 2, and 3, and then failed miserably in 4 and 5. And Troy Percival, when they made the move from catching position to pitching, they said this is a guy who maxes out at 30.
And that's really Aaron Crow. He's a max effort guy. He's got a really good fastball, got a really good slider, but he's full tilt every pitch.
Here's one from Christopher Oxentine. I've been hearing this one asked a lot too, and I think the odds are slim to none. Is it time to trade Eric Hosmer for some type of legit major league pitcher? Guys, while Dave Moore always says anyone on the roster could be up for discussion, I think the odds of Eric Hosmer being traded are almost zero, right?
Well, I think when you get guys to the big leagues and are now established as major league players, and regardless of Eric Hosmer's struggle, you're building to win in the near future. You're not looking to rebuild. We've been in rebuilding for a lot of years now, and we're getting close to being where this blueprint is ready to show the final product. So you don't want to trade away those finished products. If you're going to trade, high upside guys or guys that are prospects that are in the minor leagues.
Do you sell your best stocks when they're down? No. And that young man's going to be a fine player, but you can't get as much for him now as you could later. Now, granted, this is part of their future, and this is what Dayton Moore planned years ago with cornerstones of Moustakas and Hosmer and people like that. Alex Gordon signed to a long-term deal in the offseason. The only thing really missing right now is starting pitching.
Got to have the starting pitching. And just think, we were looking at Alex Gordon right here. We saw Billy Butler. We've seen a lot of guys. Almost every player that comes to the major league at some point is going to have his degree of struggle, and Eric Hosmer is going through that now. Mike Moustakas is having a fine year this year, but when he came up last year, he struggled mightily for a long time. The last 6 weeks of the season, he got things going, and that's really what you want to see from young players. Learn how to figure it out at the major league level. If it doesn't work, you have to send them back. But if you have the opportunity to let them work it out here, they will be much, much better players as a result.
I would also suggest, as far as Eric Hosmer goes, while he has struggled for a few months, I don't think that there is a scout or a GM in baseball that is down on Eric Hosmer. They all think that this kid is going to be a superstar or an elite player. So as far as value and what you could get for him, I think you could get the world for him, but I think that they are planning on building this team around Eric Hosmer, around Mike Moustakas. And Monty, you're right. I mean, at some point, you've got to be able to give up something. But you're starting to hear Dayton Moore talk more and more now about we have built our farm system, and we have the ability now to tap into that farm system to go acquire what we need at the big league level.
And Joel, the other thing is oftentimes a player needs a change of scenery because he's not the right type of player for a team. Now, Eric Hosmer is a perfect player for this team. There's no fallout. He's a great guy. He's a perfect gentleman. He's handled this like a star. I mean, he really has the struggle with the bat. But you think about it, he's won some baseball games with his glove. So he's a multi-tool player that's going to be just fine.
Even his agent, Scott Boras, told me when the team was in Houston, he said it's going to take a little longer for Eric because he does have a loop in his swing, a little longer swing. And when he shortens that up, he said he's really going to be a great player. But usually it takes those guys a little longer than others. And that comes from his agent, who absolutely believes in him and believes he's going to be a star.
Interesting question from Ryan Winterberg, who wants to know, given our standing, are we still buyers? And I don't know if we know the answer on that, guys, buyers or sellers, except for the fact that I think if the Royals could find a pitcher to buy or to acquire at the deadline that they can control for more than this year, that they could become buyers.
I agree. I think the Royals are going to be buyers.
I also think Dayton Moore loves to have conversations, and that's the key to a good general manager, where a guy is willing to listen to anything. Hey, I'll talk about anything, but he wants to come from a place of strength. And this is an organization that does have strength. Quite frankly, a lot of it still at the minor league level, and a lot of it very young.
I will also say, when it comes to forecasting trades, they often happen when you least expect it with Dayton Moore.
That right,
Moore doesn't
Joe.
get out very much.
It's 9-3. Seattle leads Kansas City in Game 2 of this series. Pitcher Jonathan Sanchez designated for assignment. They call up Ryan Verdugo. He makes his major league debut, and it's a similar story. 6 runs in an inning and 2/3.
Right, Steve. It did not go well for Ryan Verdugo tonight in his first outing, his first opportunity to pitch for the Royals, his first major league game. So still looking for that guy that's going to step into rotation and take the bull by the horns.
And they need that to happen, because right now the bullpen has really been taxed. Tim Collins comes out for his second inning of work. He was able to get the 3 outs in the 5th inning, but also gave up the triple by Dustin Ackley that made it 9-3, and that run was charged to Vin Mazzaro. Kyle Seager 1 for 2 as the Mariners have 9 runs on 13 hits. KC 3 on 5. They made a mini rally, cutting the lead in half at 6-3, but that 3 spot in the 5th really hurt. Alex Gordon in foul territory will make the catch. And we have a baseball note to bring your way. Austin Jackson had scored a run in 13 consecutive games for the Detroit Tigers. The last Tiger to do that was Johnny Groth in 1941. Detroit had won 8 of their last 9 games, but they were shut out, which means Jackson, of course, did not score. So that streak ends tonight. But how about the Phillies? They get Roy Halladay back, and he's going to pitch against the Dodgers.
The Phillies, one of the big surprises in baseball, the way things have gone south for them this year. I think whenever everyone looked at rotation 2 years ago, they're thinking, gosh, these guys are going to be at a dynasty, but has not worked out for them.
They have 1 more loss than Kansas City. And that's with a rotation that's pretty good.
It really is. But just like the Royals, the injury bug has been really prevalent for them.
Halladay coming off the DL. Center field. Rod Dyson. There are those seasons because Seattle certainly had them. They were a marvelous team for so many years. The Mariners from 95 through 2001 went to the playoffs 4 times. And of course in 2001 they had that incredible year where they won 116 games and finished 41 games over the Angels and won it. And what happened? They go to the playoffs and the New York Yankees pitching completely shut down that unbelievable offense. That year they led the American League in batting, pitching, defense, then lost to the Yankees in the ALCS when New York held them to a .211 batting average. And Monty, that team, Dan Wilson was the catcher. John Olerud was at first base. Brett Boone was the second baseman. Alex Rodriguez, the shortstop. Jay Buhner, Ichiro. I mean, that was a dynamic offense. Mike Cameron.
Right, they had some sticks.
Center field and deep. Dyson back. Plays it nicely. It's a double for Michael Saunders, who has 2 extra base hits in this game, 1 a home run, and that one almost left the yard.
Saunders looking very, very comfortable at the plate. Both of his last 2 at bats, he's got pitches out over the plate. This ball up and out over the plate. Gets extended, hit the ball in a very similar part of the ballpark. Last time it goes out of the ballpark, this time for a double. You were talking about starting pitchers maybe from guys maybe in the bullpen. I heard Dayton Moore at least once mention the fact that asking the question, would Tim Collins be a guy that could consider? He's not a situational lefty. He's got a good changeup, he's got a good breaking ball, throws. He's got a good velocity. So don't really like the physical stature, being only 5'7", but Tim Collins is a guy that may get some consideration at some point.
I still have to believe that those young arms in the minor leagues are going to mature and be here shortly. And I do believe the organization will go outside the organization in the offseason to get some help as well.
Well, if you look at the plan, you draft high, get the best players available, develop these players. And we've seen the arrival of a lot of the position players. We've talked about Moustakas and Perez and Hosmer and Lorenzo Cain in the trade. And we've got a lot of those elements there. But plan B is get the starting pitchers to come through the system. If that doesn't work, then you got to shift gears and maybe go outside the organization. And like we mentioned, Danny Duffy's injury is going to create a need for another pitcher in that slot as well. So sometimes you don't have an option.
You're exactly right. Ryan fouls it off. He's been on a couple of times. Doubled, was thrown out of third, trying to stretch a double into a triple, and walked and scored on the triple by Ackley in the 5th. Last night their 1 through 5 guys had 9 hits. Tonight so far, through not yet 6, they have 7 hits. Kansas City bullpen last night threw 126 pitches in 7 2/3 innings by Coleman and Teaford. And we'll see another one of those nights this evening from Mazzaro, Collins, and others. Looks like Aaron Crow getting ready, loosening up a little bit.
He's either loosening up or trying to keep his hands dry.
And Kelvin Herrera start to loosen up. This is the 34th pitch thrown by Tim Collins, and he gets it past Brendan Ryan, so gets out of further trouble in the 6th inning. Still, it's Seattle by 6. Our contestant is Dennis Cassidy from Kansas City, Missouri. If the Royals hit a home run in this inning, Dennis will win $2,800. But if the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Dennis will win $25,000 from Sonic and the Royals. Here is Eric Hosmer. Come on, Eric. Make Dennis rich. Haas has 9 home runs and 40 RBIs this year. 1 for 2. That double came back in the first inning, down the left field line into the corner. Ooh. Lost his bat, fouled it off. 1-1 count. Very fortunate it hit the screen.
That was a violent swing. Mentioned last night he had some blisters on his hands. Maybe a little ill effect from the blisters.
Good breaking ball. 1-2. Yeah, he had that 45-minute hitting session alone with Kevin Seitzer on Sunday when he took the day off. This young man has great work habits, terrific attitude, doesn't take his offense out into the field. Ooh. Taken though.
Bevan's been very impressive to me, the way he's used that inside part of the plate. Now that he's missed a lot like that, just missing. Got to give Eric Hosmer some credit for not offering on that pitch. That's a tough pitch to lay off of.
Protecting the plate on 3-2. Good fastball that touched that outside corner at 92 miles an hour.
See, that last pitch was off the plate and he tried to pull it. We'd like to see him go the other way with that pitch.
And then he goes off speed and strikes out Eric. Struck out the last 3. It's time for our Royals trivia by AT&T. Who is the last starting pitcher to get a winning decision in his major league debut with the Royals? Well, it will not be tonight, as Verdugo gave up 6 runs in an inning and 2/3. Broken bat. Flair to the second baseman. Billy Butler is the second out. Bevan had the 1 bad inning, and that was the 3rd inning when he gave up 3 runs on 4 hits. But outside that, he has been hitting his spots. Started very well in April, struggled a little bit in May, and sent out in June. Here is Moustakas, who was flied out twice to center field.
Devin only at 85 pitches now. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Blake said he was born to play baseball, that his mom was a very good softball player, and she was 3 months pregnant with him and decided to play anyway and slid into home plate, scoring a run. 3 months pregnant. And she said the umpire found out after the play that she was pregnant and was furious. But she said she never missed one of Blake's games growing up, and she was the key driver in getting from the Little League game to Little League game, and then as he progressed into high school, became one of Texas's very best pitchers. It was a year ago this month where Blake made that phone call to his mom and said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Well, just finished mowing the grass and we're smoking some ribs and back barbecue." "Well, what are you doing tomorrow at 1?" And she said that she knew that he didn't have a day game the next day in the minor leagues, and so she figured it was the majors. And here he is making it to the bigs, and 1 year later back in the bigs and pitching well against Kansas City. For KC Metro locations, visit us online at PaneraKansas.com. By Thoroughbred Ford, the best deals on new Fords are at ThoroughbredFord.com. And by AT UVerse, the new wireless receiver from AT UVerse. Visit att.com/free your TV. Rethink possible. Here in Kansas City, the Mariners with a 9-3 lead over the Royals, and we'll see a new pitcher come out of the pen. It will be Kelvin Herrera, the flamethrower from the Dominican Republic. 43rd game this year, and his ERA has dipped below 3.
He is a flamethrower, Steve. Will approach 100 if not occasionally even hit 100 miles an hour, but his best pitch, in my opinion, is his changeup. He'll throw his changeup just under 90 miles an hour.
Give a guy a break. We head to the 7th. Dustin Ackley has had a very good series with 4 hits. He goes after the first pitch at 99 and swings and misses. Ackley, a real star for the North Carolina Tar Heels, their all-time top hitter. Career batting average of .412. First round pick by the M's. Let's see if we see that change up here that you were talking about on a 1-2 count.
From his grip, it looks like it is.
And Ackley adjusts very well and hits a long fly ball to center field. I mean, to go from a 99-mile-an-hour fastball to one that's 10 miles an hour less, located well. Pretty good at bat, even though you made an out.
Kelvin Herrera's really done a nice job in rounding his repertoire out. He's thrown some breaking balls. I think it made both his fastball and his changeup even better.
He does have closer stuff. But we've seen so many great closers start out as setup guys. Did you set up Steve Farr?
I did. Tom Gordon and I were the 2 primary setup guys for Steve Farr.
And both of you, Tom Gordon and yourself, eventually became very good closers.
Well, and it was Steve Farr's injury that promoted my opportunity for being a closer. I guess it was 1989, and then Tom Gordon went into the rotation at that time. So we both had opportunities as a result of being effective in middle relief.
What are the qualities you think? I mean, we all know about the physical qualities of a closer, but could you talk about the mental qualities you think a closer needs?
Well, I think just going out there every game, and regardless if you had a perfect ninth inning the day before or you got hit around, you have to go out in that next game and be on your game and really get things going in a hurry.
How did you let it go?
I just would really focus on the moment. I wouldn't worry about how good or how bad I did the night before. It was just, I'm working off today. And again, forget about yesterday, forget about what happened early in the year. Because if you're going good, you can't rely on that to get you success or get you through the game you're pitching in currently. And then certainly if you're pitching poorly, you can't allow that to deter your ability to be successful.
Ichiro fighting off several good pitches as Herrera continues to pound him with the fastball. So Salvi going out for a visit right there. Did it take you a while, because so many young athletes, doesn't matter if you're in baseball or basketball, when they struggle early, they carry that disappointment into their next game?
Well, being a closer really made me a more effective pitcher. It almost allowed me to elevate my game to a level higher than what I could otherwise. And that was one reason I was able to do it. But I think consistency is a key. Never be great, never be terrible. Just kind of be good as much as you possibly can. So a lot of factors involved. Again, I felt like as a closer, it's very, very important to manage the game. Game management on the mound, know the situation, be able to pitch around certain hitters when you have the opportunity to do it, and not allow one guy in a lineup be the guy who beats you.
And you would go out there every single night. Here is Casper Wells. Herrera ripped a 99-mile-an-hour heater by Ichiro.
Yeah, here's some effort. Talk about the bat slowing down a little bit on Ichiro. It looks like he was behind on that pitch.
100. I know there are those who talk about Kansas City having a fast gun. I'm going, well, it doesn't matter. If Herrera hits 100 and Verlander hits 100, it's going pretty quickly. That's usually your measuring stick.
I've seen Herrera really mature a lot as a pitcher. I saw him in spring training. He got hit around throwing that good hard fastball, but like I mentioned, when he started using the breaking ball more effectively to almost set his other pitches up better, he's become a much better major league pitcher.
He is a max effort guy. For his size, 5'10", 200 pounds, he would be hard pressed to be a starter.
It would be very difficult for him. He has the stuff, certainly, but being able to go out and do that for 100, 110 pitches would be very difficult on his body.
He'd have to back off a little bit. There are so many guys who were starters, and they may come in maybe before the All-Star break and come in for one inning. I remember Joey Hamilton, who was always 92, 93, 94 miles an hour. He came in the ninth inning one time before the All-Star break and was hitting 99 and 100. I said, what was going on there? And he said, well, I only had one inning to work. Might as well top it out. Herrera does just that and strikes out 2 in the 7th. City Royals as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning of play. Jeff Francoeur will lead it off. He'll be followed by Salvi Perez and Chris Getz. Royals trying to get the bottom of the order hooked up. Bevan's pitch will be his 90th. And it is a strike to Jeff Francoeur, who's been hit by a pitch, flied out to left field. Whatever Bevan was doing wrong, he figured it out. His command was always good. They said he was making mistakes over the heart of the plate in his last 2 starts in the big leagues. Very, very poorly. That's deep short. Ryan, long throw, and not in time, and Frenchie has an infield hit. But Ryan made it a heck of an effort. The barehanded play, a deep short.
Only chance was to barehand that ball. Brendan Ryan with a great effort. French will take the knock.
Salvi Perez 0 for 2. Hit into a double play in the 2nd inning. Hit it sharply down the line. A nice backhanded play by Kyle Seager, the 3rd baseman, who went 5-4-3. Double play. Salvi with a base hit to left. This will get Francoeur to 3rd base. Ball is bobbled, but they will hold Frenchie, particularly down by 6 runs. They don't want to take a chance for the guy getting thrown out on any bases. But Salvi comes up with a base hit, and he continues his fine start since coming off the disabled list with his 5th double of the year.
Salvador Perez going to find some fair territory down the left field line. Casper Wells is going to have a little problem getting this ball in. Misses it, then he boots it a little bit. Like you said, Jeff Francoeur doesn't want to take any chances to game at this situation.
Is this a good example of staying inside the baseball?
He did. He stayed inside and he turned on it.
Eric Wedge will shake the hand of Blake Bevan after coming back from the minor leagues, where he was sensational at Tacoma and now has transferred that to the big league level. But he knows the kid has given him enough. Over the 90 pitch mark. Let's head to the bullpen, where they will bring on Charlie Furbish, a teammate of Ryan Verdugo and Chris Coleman in college. Minor leagues pitched a heck of a ball game, giving up 3 runs to the Kansas City Royals. The 2 on base belong to him. They are on second and third, so Charlie Furbish, a left-hander, comes out of the bullpen to pitch to Kansas City's Chris Getz and Gerard Dyson, 2 left-handers.
And Steve, he's very tough on left-handers. Lefty's only hitting at a 158 clip against them. For the last 24 innings, he's only allowed 2 earned runs, so he's throwing the ball really well. He's a upper 80s, lower 90s fastball guy. He's got a kind of a loopy slider curveball, but he has been tough on left-handers.
He's a former member of the Detroit Tigers, selected in the 4th round of the 2007 draft, but acquired along with Casper Wells, who's starting in this game, in exchange for Doug Fister, who was so responsible in getting the Tigers to the playoffs last year. Getz takes strike 1. This is fly to center field and grounded out. He's been a tough guy to strike out this year, just 9 Ks.
Furbish has been a starter. He started 10 games last year for the Seattle Mariners.
This will get a run home. Also move Perez to third base. Francoeur makes it a 9-4 score, the identical mark of last night's final.
Well, Chris Getz getting 1 run in. Unfortunately, has to sacrifice an out to do it.
That is Chris's 10th RBI of the year. And the Royals will go with Lorenzo Cain. So Eric Wedge was waiting for Lorenzo's name to be announced, and so we likely will see another pitching change here. Well, actually, Eric is asking the entire infield, and he's also bringing out his trainer to make sure that Furbish is all right. Well, that means he's going to come out.
That's not a good sign.
Got pain in the back of your shoulder.
Well, you can tell there's something not right.
So Charlie didn't last long. He got the ground out by Chris Getz, and Wedge will likely go with the right-hander to face Lorenzo Cain, who's pinch hitting for Gerard Dyson. So Sean Kelly, who pitched last night and pitched very well, will likely be the man to come out of the bullpen, and he will be given as much time as he needs to get ready. Mariners scored very quickly in this game and often. They scored 3 runs in the first, 3 in the second, 3 in the 5th. Kansas City has scored 3 runs in the 3rd and 1 so far in the 7th. So here comes Mr. Kelly, and we will take a break as Seattle leads the Royals 9-4 in the bottom of the 7th inning. 7th inning, trying to protect a 5-run lead. Fans, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any forms, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Royals. We come to you from Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. This is game 2 of a 4-game series. Tomorrow night it will be Kevin Millwood against Bruce Chen, and then on Thursday Felix Hernandez against Luke Hochever. Royals going through a difficult time right now, and they will try and muscle up against Sean Kelly, who has really pitched well of late, having allowed only 3 hits over his last 7 2/3 innings.
See if he has thrown the ball well. He's your typical sinker slider guy. He will feature a changeup as well, but his slider is his go-to pitch.
Lorenzo Cain raised that batting average to 276, coming out with a hot bat since coming off the disabled list where he missed 78 games. The Royals did send out Jason Bourgeois back to Omaha before the ball game in a transaction that had Sanchez being designated for assignment, Bourgeois going to AAA. Mazzaro and Verdugo both came up and both have pitched in this game. Kelly has not started out well.
Kelly missed most of last season while recovering from partial Tommy John surgery, which I'm not sure what that is.
I think it's just Tommy surgery.
Tommy. Or Johnny.
Tried to go with that slider and couldn't control it, and Cain has a 3-0 count. Perez at third base with 1 out. Salvi doubled in Francoeur to third base, and then Jeff scored on the ground out by Chris Getz. Furbish lifted from the game after injuring his left arm, and there is a strike. Lorenzo does have good power. We saw it down in spring training. Another good slider, so he throws 3 pitches very poorly and then 2 on the black.
Well, when he got into that slider mode, it seemed like he kind of clicked back in where he started getting the ball down.
You said his best pitch was his slider. Let's see if we see it here on 3-2. Whacked high and deep. That's the first home run of the year for Lorenzo Cain.
This is a hanging slider. Lorenzo Cain makes Kelly pay for this one. Nice catch out in the left field stands. Really good sign to see from Lorenzo Cain. You talked about the spring training power we saw, and nice to see it here in Kansas City.
So Kelly is out. Seattle will use their 4th pitcher in the 7th inning alone. Kansas City coming. long time for this. Lorenzo Cain, after having to stay 78 games in the disabled list. We saw his power in spring training and finally got his first of 2012, and it cuts the Seattle lead to 9-6. The Royals still batting in the bottom of the 7th inning. Not bad. He deserves 2 drinks. Here is Lucas Litke, 6'4", 203-pound southpaw from Brenham, Texas, 25 years of age, and you can see his numbers. They're really terrific. And one of the more remarkable ones is the fact that he did not allow an earned run in his first 25 games, setting a club record to begin a career. Also a club record for most appearances without an earned run to start a season.
Well, he's got a good fastball, upper 80s, low 90s on a fastball. You just saw that sweeping slider. That's going to be his pitch against the lefties.
He has Gordon down 1-2. Alex tripled back in the 3rd and then scored an Escobar single. And then he punches that one into center field. That's using your hands. Just kind of threw the bat head out there.
He had to stay back, recognize the pitch, throw those hands. Royals with a 3-run tally in the 3rd inning. Part of that due to Alex Gordon's triple, hustling it out, legging it into 3rd base just in time.
He is now hitting .287 and climbing. This guy has been climbing the last month and a half. Foul.
We'll take a little look at the slow motion on Alex's last swing here. Got fooled a little bit out in front of it. Very athletic Alex Gordon, able to throw the hands out. Scores a knock.
It's amazing what you can do when you just get the sweet part of the bat on the baseball. Escobar 1 for 3, but down in the count to Lucas Litke. Left-hander Hosmer waiting on deck. Royals didn't need to get one more man on to bring the tying run to the plate. Ned Yost said he wanted to see Escobar develop as the number 2 hitter. He really liked Alex Gordon at number 1. They believe in Eric Hosmer, and he said, I don't care if he's struggling. We're trying to develop Eric as a number 3 hitter as well. He believes that's where he will be, and usually a team's best hitter is hitting 3rd. Chance for 2, 1, and done. But Kansas City scores 3 times in the 7th to cut the M's lead to 9-6.
game, and in center field, Panera takes us around the American League. Yankees thrilled to have CC Sabathia back off the DL, 6-1 the final. LA all over Detroit. Trumbo goes deep for his 26th. Mike Trout, 355 batting average now, 4 for 6 on the game. Kevin Youkilis homers against his old teammate John Lester, but the White Sox win. Phil Umber off the DL to get the victory. Tampa Bay 4-2 over Cleveland. Baltimore and Minnesota tied in the 6th. And just underway, Texas and Oakland. Roy Oswalt facing Bartolo Colon. And Aaron Crow enters the game for the Royals.
Thank you, Joel. Aaron Crow's 42nd game of the year. He will face the red-hot hitting Jesus Montero, who's been on base 4 times in this game. 3 hits, all well struck, a double to center, and 2 singles to left. He's also scored 2 runs and driven in 2. He entered the season rated as the Mariners' #1 prospect. Ground ball short. Escobar gets him out. Here is our AT&T U-verse reverse replays about Justin Smoak last night and tonight.
He likes hitting in the first inning. Last night we're going to see home run off of Jonathan Sanchez. Tonight, a 2-run shot. Ryan Verdugo.
Back-to-back very bad starts for Kansas City's Jonathan Sanchez and Ryan Verdugo. 13 runs allowed in just 3 innings pitched by the Kansas City starters. And now Justin Smoak comes up again. Belted a home run to left field his first time up, and then walked, was hit by a pitch and lined out in his last at bat. There's that good slider by Aaron. 1-1. Another wrinkle on the outside corner. Wow. I think he has a little confidence in the slider right now.
Figured out how to get Smoke out. Slider, slider, slider.
When they look like this.
The disappearing slider. Thing just bottoms out. Aaron Crow gets on top. That allows him to have that downward plane.
Two outs for Kyle Seager, who has walked, doubled in 2 runs, lined out, flied out. Mariners with 9 runs on 14 hits. Kansas City with 6 runs on 9 hits. It was interesting because when Seager and Ackley played at North Carolina, Ackley was coming off a shoulder injury, so he played first base, and Seager played second base. And they say he was a terrific defensive second baseman, and that might be the future position for him, with Ackley maybe going to the outfield.
And Mike Moustakas paid to move to third base from middle infield as well.
Shortstop in Southern California. If you can play, you can play.
Tools. It's all about tools.
That's why, you know, most colleges don't have that many scholarships to offer in baseball. So usually coaches go out there and they're looking for shortstops and pitchers, because they figure a shortstop can go to any position, because usually in high school he's the best athlete. In the air, right side, long run for Jeff Francoeur, and he gets there. And a very nice inning for Aaron Crow in the 8th inning. TNT trivia question. Who is the last starting pitcher to get a winning decision in his major league debut with the Royals? That would be J.P. Howell, June of 2005 at Arizona. I did not know that.
I don't remember that one.
Eric Hosmer will lead things off against the lefty. Litke stays in the game. Hosmer has doubled, grounded out, and struck out.
Go back earlier in the game here in the first inning. Eric Hosmer gets a pitch on the outside part of the plate. Instead of pulling it, tries to go the other way with it. The result is a double.
They come back inside and he fouls it straight back. Good pitching by Lucas Litke, and he strikes out Eric Hosmer for the first out of the bottom of the 8th inning. Kansas City with 3 runs in the 3rd inning and 3 in the 7th to try and get back in this game. This Seattle pen has done a nice job this year. Came in with a 3.1 earned run average as a staff. Billy Butler has 1 hit in the game that came back in the 3rd inning, a single to right field that scored a run. It made it 6-3 at the time. Mike Moustakas, who right now is in the on deck circle, thought he got a pitch to hit and missed it, popped up to center field to end that 3rd inning. They had Blake Bevan on the ropes. And after that, he really settled down. Retired 9 straight before giving up the infield hit to Jeff Rancour in the 7th inning. Greg Holland now warming in the Kansas City bullpen. Milwaukee did not protect Lucas Litke and allowed him to be selected in the Rule 5 draft by Seattle last December. I think they might change their mind on this one. Look at this. Tremendous breaking ball at just 73 miles an hour, and opens the 8th inning by striking out Eric Hosmer and Billy Butler.
Occasionally those Rule 5 guys work out pretty well. Joaquin Soria was Rule 5 draft choice by the Royals.
Johan Santana by the Minnesota Twins. And he started out in the bullpen, then moved to the rotation. Brilliant success with Minnesota, and then obviously now with the New York Mets throwing a no-hitter this year.
Royals fans saw Nate Adcock here the entire 2011 season to see if he was a Rule 5 guy. We've seen him a number of times this year.
Moose takes 2 pitches low. Mike looking for his first base hit. A couple of singles last night. Kansas City has had to play catch up the first 2 games of this series. Down 7-0 in the second inning last night, and down 6-0 in the second inning tonight. Litke out of Industry, Texas. Good discipline by Moustakas. The count is 3-1. Litke went to San Jacinto Junior College in Texas, then transferred to Rice. Royals go in order in the 8th inning. To the 9th we go. Seattle 9, Kansas City 6.
Live after the game. We'll certainly recap the transactions of the day. The DFA of Jonathan Sanchez, the rough major league debut for Ryan Verdugo. We'll have reaction and much more coming up on Boulevard Royals Live after the game. And then after Boulevard Royals Live, hey, we got to tip our hat to Curtis Wilson. I'm not sure who's producing the Mariners broadcast right now, but he has been slow cooking those ribs. Because, you know, there's nothing quite like barbecuing in Kansas City. You can't do that in Seattle. It's just not the same. So he is here taking advantage, and we're going to enjoy that after the game.
Joel, if they had a capital of barbecue, Kansas City would be the barbecue capital of the world. No questions asked.
I thought it was.
And so it is. We have the key to the barbecue of the world. Who designated that honor?
I'll take responsibility.
I was going to say, you've got some aprons to go with the barbecue that you can cook and eat. Greg Holland is the new pitcher for Kansas City, and Greg is averaging almost 13 strikeouts per 9 innings, 3rd in the American League and 8th in the major leagues among pitchers with at least 25 innings. And he has slowly been rounding into form. And this is a guy I believe has closer stuff, Jeff.
Well, he showed it last year. He was so effective last year. Came in big situations. A lot of times, multiple runners on base, nobody out, one out. Almost perfect in those situations. Had some arm issues early this year. They really weren't arm. It's more of like the back of the shoulder and the rib cage area. But he really is. He's a solid guy. Really understands pitching. He uses his stuff effectively.
They called it a left rib stress reaction, and he had adjusted his mechanics because of it, and now he's getting him back, and that arm slot looks like it did last year. Look at that pitch. That's unhittable.
Well, all of his stuff breaks down, whether it be his slider, his splitter. I think he's got that downward action, and worst case scenario, if they make contact, it's going to be a ground ball. So it's really good to see him back in form. I know he was very disappointed the way the season started for him, but he's obviously back now.
Since returning from the disabled list, he has allowed only 5 runs in 25 2/3 innings. It's a 1.75 ERA.
And that was very close to his numbers last year. He had a 1 in front of his ERA last year for the entire season, so he had a great year.
Kansas City certainly has several options with this bullpen, but they must find starting pitching to get a lead to the bullpen.
And there was talk last year about potentially Greg Holland being one of those guys that would be a candidate. It would certainly be nice to have a healthy Joakim Soria at the back end of that bullpen, which really would have allowed Aaron Crow and or Greg Holland or some other guys in the bullpen that would have been able to maybe emerge this season as candidates for the 4th or 5th slot in the rotation.
Well, coming into this season, he had pitched in 138 games, and only 7 of those were starts, and that's way back in the 2008 season when he was with Class A Wilmington. Did he go? Yes, he did. And he looks terrific facing the first 2 batters. And it's not necessarily what Saunders did not do, but just look at the action on his pitches.
Well, it's late life. It's the ability to finish out of the strike zone. It appears to be a strike, and you just frankly cannot hit it.
Brendan Ryan doubled back in the 3rd inning, was cut down trying to stretch it to a triple. A play that went from Gordon to Escobar to Moustakas. Drops it in there for strike 1. Tell you, he's got it working.
He doesn't waste many pitches either. 0-2, he goes right at batters.
This is the best stuff I've seen. And I don't care if it's against Alex Rodriguez or against the Seattle Mariners, the action on his pitches, and as you talked about, the late life. Fell off to the first base side, and he snapped at the baseball. I think he was unhappy with his finish.
Well, that's the equivalent of a hitter rushing out to get to a pitch. He rushed out to try to get that pitch to really overbreak, maybe more than he needs to.
Salvi sets the target. Getz eats it up. And a beautiful 9th inning for Greg Holland. Stay with us because Salvador Perez will get one more at bat. He went deep last night. What do you say? He goes deep again. That young lady still believes. They will have to do it against Tom Williamson, who is 28 years old, a right-hander from Tucson, Arizona. Big, tall guy at 6'6", 220 pounds, and his story is absolutely incredible. He will face Jeff Francoeur, Salvi Perez, and Chris Getz here in the 9th inning. Williamson has become their closer.
And he has thrown the ball very well. Will be a mid-90s fastball guy. Over the top curveball, the 12-6 action. He has been unhittable as of late.
He has not allowed a run in his last 18 appearances. That covers 22 innings, allowing 11 hits in that time and striking out 24. Francoeur fouls that one off of his catcher. But the story about Tom is the fact that he was a guy who was suspended by the Milwaukee Brewers, who drafted him in the 7th round in 2002. And so he was suspended from the 2004 season. And to get his life back in order, he did not play from 2005 through 2008. I mean, that is a big separation from the game of baseball. So he comes back, gets a tryout, and he works out with the Seattle Mariners and makes it into professional baseball again in 2009. Signed by the Mariners as a free agent in 2010. And now he is a major league closer. And as you can tell, he can reach the upper 90s. That last fastball at 97 miles an hour. And Tom will tell you his wife Cassie was so important to his comeback. That ball popped up right side. Smoke there. He makes the catch. Salvi Perez hit into a double play in the 2nd inning, popped up in the 4th inning and doubled and scored one of 3 runs in the 7th for Kansas City. Royals scored 3 times in the 3rd and 3 times in the 7th. Miguel's going, you know what? I've had enough.
He has had enough. Pitch coming in at upper 90s and just enough contact from Salvador Perez to miss the glove.
They are tough guys.
They have to be.
And that young man, the future of the Royals, as their backstop, their guy that works the pitching staff. And he loves the responsibility. Well, Williamson thought it was strike 3.
That's that 12-6 curveball he uses to put hitters away, especially right-handed batters. It's easy to see why he's had success. He's 6 feet 6 inches tall, and he's throwing everything downhill, straight over the top.
3-2 to Salvi. The Royals have 6 runs on 9 hits. Mariners with 9 on 14. Well, that's a great pitch. You do that on 3-2, you're going to save a lot of games.
That is a filthy pitch after a 97, 98 mile an hour fastball, drop in that over the top curveball, 79 miles an hour, unhittable.
Brandon League started the year as their closer and recorded 9 saves, but then struggled a little bit, blew a couple of saves. They put Williamson in that role, and he has saved 7 ball games and just gotten better and better. Now facing Chris Getz, who's 0 for 3 with an RBI on a ground out. There's a chopper up the middle, backhanded by Ackley, and he gets him. And Seattle has taken the first 2 games of this series by scores of 9-4 and 9-6. Royals had to play catch up both nights, trailing by 7-0 and 6-0, and it was just not enough.